Happy Friday, everybody. A big thank you for being with me today on February 9th. I am Kathy. Welcome to Yarn with Heart. So happy you're here today. In this yarn chat, I will be sharing updates on a couple of make-alongs that I'm participating in this month, 2 blankets that have been completed and that are ready for donation. One is using motifs joined together, similar to the way granny squares join. And the other is a baby blanket and hat set. Also, a peek at a blanket that I have started for next month's blankets. And a viewer submission, including her tips and a picture she sent of a beautiful baby blanket that she is crocheting for donation. Next week will be about knitting, how the half-hour a day knitting is going, and plans to learn a new knitting skill for February. Also next week, a surprise, as this channel is now over 200 subscribers. If you subscribe and ring the notification bell, you won't miss the next video on February 16th. Welcome to everybody, those who have been with me for a while, and those who are new, those who are watching, commenting, and sharing, and grateful that over 200 have subscribed. I really look forward to Fridays so that we can get together like this. Now, first off, let's talk about the viewer submission. Thank you so much to Rivka from Florida. She is crocheting a baby scrap-ghan using 2 strands of yarn and a 13mm hook. She shared that her inspirations are YouTube tutorials by Bag a Day and Hooked by Robin. Doesn't this fabric look warm and cheerful? I put the picture up in the corner so you can see. I will put the picture up again a second time so you can look at some tips that Rivka shares with us. She attaches braided embroidery thread to her stitch markers. What a genius way to make those easier to grab and to find them if they happen to drop. Also, she has attached a label to the corner of her afghan. This idea was inspired by Jayda InStitches. The YouTube video was how to sew labels to crochet and knit. I'm thinking that I might ask the coordinator of Casting Off the Cold if they allow appliques on their baby blankets and how I should attach them, because if this is allowed, I would love to begin to use scrap yarn to add a little something to the corner of some of the blankets that I'm making for donation. Thank you so much, Rivka, for sending the picture of this beautiful afghan in such wonderful colors and for sharing these ideas. If anyone would like to share pictures or pattern ideas, please do email me. I'm happy to include them here so we can all share pattern ideas and learn from each other. I'm going to show you here a little peek at next month's blanket. It just started. This is a peek at what's to come in March. There we go. It's going to be one of the large 60-inch blankets for a teen. So there we go. And now on to the completed blankets. The first one I think you would remember some of the motifs or squares that I had sent to Russ from It's Raining Yarn. I loved it so well that I decided to make a bunch more and complete a blanket. This is the Sundial Motif by Salena Baca from American Crochet Association. It's free on her website and also a paid pattern on Ravelry. I used a 5mm hook, and the yarn ends in 1-pound bags that I purchased from Len's Mill. So this one I did 1, 2, 3, 5 across and 1, 2, 3, 6 squares in the length. Each of these are approximately 10 by 10 in the size of the motif. There. I love blankets with texture, and this one, although it's not a difficult square to do, it has a lot of texture. Once you've done 3 or 4 of them, you can almost zip along without the pattern. And the join was a very familiar join. This is a little different for me because often I will use patterns as sort of a suggestion and then I modify as I go. This one, I stayed right to pattern and I did the whole thing as the pattern was designed. I love this one and I love the texture in the squares. I think a teen will like this denim color too. So that's the first blanket. The second blanket, hold on, I'll roll my way back here. The second blanket is called the Simple Baby Blanket. It's by Jo Edwards from Jo to the World Creations. Also free on her blog, and paid pattern is available on Ravelry. I used a 6mm hook, Bernat Baby Sport, in the colors Baby Denim Marl and White. I'll show you first close up here. And then I'll hold it. It's a nice size baby blanket. And I made a hat to go with this. The hat was a calming baby crochet hat. There we go. This is by Stacy Wickapleck. Free download on Ravelry. I used a 4mm hook and Bernat Baby Sport in the color Baby Denim Marl. This one, it was a top-down hat. I did use a different yarn than the pattern calls for, and I do have a few tips when using a different pattern, a different yarn for top-down hats. I would say if you check online for a chart of hat measurements and then work the increases until it matches the crown diameter required for the size that you're working. In this case, I was working a 6-month size. And then at that point in time, start doing the height rows according to the pattern description, and then work the number of rounds of the pattern until it reaches the hat height needed according to the chart for the size you're making. So that would be my tips as far as adjusting a pattern And again, this is such a sweet pattern by Stacy. I did use this yarn because I wanted it to match the blanket, and I wanted to use some of the leftover yarn that I had. One thing about this particular yarn, there's not a lot of stretch and recovery in this yarn, which I did like when I made this hat, because this is a very cute brim, and I thought over time, as this hat gets used, it will stretch, and then the extra length probably will allow the hat to be worn longer, maybe past a 6 months. So in this case, I appreciated the design of the hat, and I appreciated being able to use this particular yarn so that the mother could use this hat maybe into the late spring when the weather is still just a little bit cooler in the nighttime, in the evenings, or in the early mornings. So that was my hat. Now, as far as make-alongs for February, at first I was unsure if I would do the Tropical Bird of the Month by Judy's Creations in Crochet. I was having trouble finding a color yarn that I thought would work well. I can put a picture of the bird up in the top corner. I think when I did a deep dive into my stash, I think I found a yarn that will work. Now, this was given to me. This yarn is a pretty old style yarn. It's not available anymore for purchase. However, I love the color. I think it will work well. And now that I found the yarn, my next challenge will be to find a pattern that I think will work well with about 100 grams. I think that's around 3.5 ounces or less of the yarn. So I do like a challenge, and this is definitely part of the fun of this make-along. So Judy, here we go. There's my colors, and I am ready for this this challenge this month. I'd love if some people from my channel will be interested in joining. You can check Judy's videos and learn about this make-along if you're interested in knitting or crocheting or weaving something in these inspiration colors this month. The other make-along that I joined in with, here are the colors that I chose. It is by the Knitting Turnpike and Judy's Creations in Crochet. I got the crochet pattern, and I'm doing the Ravelry wrap. This one's by Heather Anderson. It's a paid pattern on Ravelry. In mine, I'm doing it with a 4mm hook and yarn ends 1-pound bags in this green and camel. I think I got these from Mary Maxim quite some time ago. They just randomly send you a yarn and color when you request their yarn ends bags for purchase. So that's how I got these ones. And there's a hashtag with this make-along. They have a Facebook group, they have a thread on Ravelry, and you can use their hashtag on Instagram as well. All the things. I'm part of the Facebook group right now, and it's been a lot of fun. So also, if you would like information about that, both of their informations are typed into the description box, as is all the information about the patterns, the free and paid versions, how to find those typed into the description box. So that's it for this week. So happy, and thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful weekend and enjoy your crochet, enjoy your knitting, and I hope to see you next Friday.